United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.
Hello.
Hi.
I feel very good about doing a free-flowing episode.
Yeah, we're doing it live today.
Yeah.
No script.
No script. Just whatever comes top of mind, which is terrifying because we do not edit or censor ourselves, but that's okay. Hey, what's up? My name's Noelle, and I have been having very negative thoughts about my body lately, and not in the way that you would expect either. Not in like of course, always in the body dysmorphia type way, but in like I need to like change something. Who are you?
I'm Chelsea. I had a cucumber for dinner because I classically hate my body.
Yeah.
In the old, looking a little thick lately.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I'll look at photos where I'm way younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I look similar in body type, but I'm like, at the time, I thought I looked fine. But now that I'm older, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
You really don't know what you have until it's gone. And
yeah, collagen.
The way the collagen has left my face. So, before you got a new tattoo, you finally started getting your arms tattooed.
Yes, I'm starting my Star Wars sleeve finally. I had like a few arm tattoos. Like I had the little peony kind of in my armpit.
Girl, you saying you had arm tattoos is like peace and love. I say this with love in my heart, but like every bitch being like, yeah, I've got a sleeve, and it's little like fine line sticker looking things.
You're right, because this one here was for one of like the flash days that my tattoo artist was doing for the Rape Recovery Center. So this was just like something I picked off a sheet. It's like a tiny little peony. And then this one is our friendship tattoo where we all went and got hearts.
Yeah. And
I picked mine to say trust the force. And thank God I did.
Yeah, thank God you did.
Because I'm starting a Star Wars sleeve. And it's interesting that you say, like, isn't it funny, like, the way that we think about ourselves? Mm-hmm. Because I go in to get the Star Wars sleeve. I've been planning. Well, I've been, like, had a vision in my mind because I've had the same tattoo artist for, like, a decade.
Yeah.
But what I normally do is I send her what I want, and then I just let God. Because I trust her. Ashley Love, Only Forever in Salt Lake, one of the most talented tattoo artists in the state, if not of all time when it comes to American traditional.
For sure.
She's very talented. So I send her off all the tattoo ideas, and then I get in there and she shows me what she has. And originally, like, it wasn't the original idea I had. The original idea I had was to have the Death Star at the very top. I go in, she shows me the Millennium Falcon, and that's going to be the top piece. And the way that she presented it, she was like, I'm going with the Millennium Falcon because it's going to fit your arm so good, and I can do a really good Death Star smaller somewhere else on your arm, but I can give you like a detailed Millennium Falcon, like at this size. And she said it in like less words. She was like, this is going to be better. And I said, bet, I agree. But then she goes, what are the colors in the Millennium Falcon? And I'm like, well, red, like it's kind of, I'm like, it's like desert worn reddish. And she goes, okay. And I went, hold on, let me double check. And then she shows me the lightsaber hilt. And she goes, I just copied this off the internet. I think it was blue. I look at it. I go, that's Luke's lightsaber. It should be green. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, gaslit myself into thinking that I don't know anything about Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
And I start to like panic. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I just want to double check really quick. I was like, what color is Luke's lightsaber? What color is the Millennium Falcon? And I'm going through all this stuff. And I'm like, I know what they look like. But I'm gaslighting myself into thinking that I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And this isn't the only time like where I'm like, you're too stupid to function. Isn't it funny how the brain works? Because I was right.
Oh, absolutely. I I fear that if someone says something to me with enough confidence, I will believe them.
Yeah. Yep.
And it affects my daily life and like my job, especially because people will say something to me as if it's black and white facts. And I'll be like, oh, I mean, I thought it was this, but I guess I guess you're right. And they've gaslit me into believing their lies, fairy tales, and fallacies. So I totally know where you're coming from.
It's very interesting because you and I are in positions at our jobs where we are the only people in the company who do our job.
Yeah.
We are the experts, so to speak, because we're the only ones. It's
terrifying.
It's not a company or it's not like we don't have anyone working below us.
Yeah, it's not a department where we're the department.
Yeah, and it's like I have a boss who I respect, and I have a boss's boss who I respect, and they respect me, but they don't do what I do. It's kind of like I'm making salad while they're sauteing meat, and there's no crossover. So they'll ask me a question, and sometimes I'm like, do I have enough going on where I can answer this? And then they constantly remind me like, well, you're the authority. And I'm like, how can I be the authority? I'm stupid though.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. It's brutal. But speaking of tattoos in your arm, you're so smart waiting till you're 73 to start getting your arm tattooed because if you've
First of all, the skin's like crepe paper, so it takes way less ink in my old age.
It pulls out immediately.
I only have about 2 good years before the dementia hits, and I can't even regret them at that point.
Yeah. I'm so jealous of you with your fucking Benadryl intake. It's going to be less than that. But if you've been here a while, you would have heard me and my dumb 20-something brain being like, I don't regret any of my tattoos because they were a point in time and they represent me in that moment. Yada, 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 yap, yap, yap. I will create a time machine. First of all, kill Hitler, obviously. Second of all, beat the fucking shit out of myself and prevent me from getting 99.9% of the tattoos I have on my body. And it is like, I never in a million years wanted to be this person, ever. And I tried to convince myself that I wasn't. And I genuinely believed that I wasn't for a while. But as I get older, and I'm not like I try not to be a weirdo fucking millennial cringe animation freak. I look at my body and I go, what have you done? What have you done?
From an outside perspective, and you can take it or leave it.
Can't wait.
There's only been one tattoo of yours, like, swear to God, where I ever looked at it, and I was like,
But did I get it covered?
Yep.
That doesn't count.
Because the application of it went on so scratchy shitty, and I was just like, well, it wasn't just that. It just didn't fit your current style. I don't want to shit. Well, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
I feel like you had gotten peer pressured into it.
Yeah.
Didn't want it.
Yeah.
It was celebrating a person you don't particularly care for in this world or the next.
Yeah.
And that was the only one where I was genuinely like, I don't see that for Noelle.
Yeah.
Like when I found out other people got it, I was like, that's actually sweet. That's a cute story. That makes it like a better tattoo. And I was like, cool. Your other ones that I know you don't like, I don't consider like bad tattoos or like botched jobs, you know, even your unfinished tattoo looks intentional. I love your fucking Harley Quinn tattoo so much. If you ever get that covered up, I want to get it like scraped off of your body.
Yeah, when I die, you can have that piece of skin. I will say, like, I am, and you can do whatever you want with your body. I literally don't care. But I'll also do what I want with mine. That's the whole point, right? I'm not a tattoo removal sister. I will just deal with it, cover it, kill myself about it, JK. But so, and God, I did like, I don't know how many people know this. And I'm like outing myself, but it's fine. The back of my left arm, the entire back of it from like my shoulder, I'm not even fucking kidding, from my shoulder down to my elbow, and it actually touches my elbow, you can see there, is a full color Louise from Bob's Burgers as Satan.
Yeah. But here's the thing about that tattoo. Whereas I don't
beautiful.
know. That's the thing, is like it is a genuinely good tattoo.
But
so it's not like you have some regrettable fucking scratcher etched in.
Yeah.
It's so good. Or when I look at your Bellatrix and your Voldemort wands,
yeah,
I'm like, those are good tattoos. I just don't think that they fit within the purview of your interests anymore. But they're just on such visual real estate. And I think that's the only difference, because like you genuinely, in my opinion, don't have any bad tattoos. The one that wasn't my favorite, I could kind of tell you didn't like it either. So maybe that didn't like, I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think that you're lucky enough to have good tattoos, because we've seen some
I know. I've seen some ones. I've seen some gnarly ones, but I fucking like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love Louise from Bob's Burgers, but like
that's a lot of real estate.
That's actually fucking insane.
Yeah, it's literally from like your armpit.
It literally look, it goes, that's my armpit right there. It's in my armpit to my fucking elbow.
And it's Satan? Crazy. I thought she had bunny ears.
No, do you see she has her bunny ears and then she has the horns?
Oh, yeah.
And then it's the flames of hell around her, and she has an upside down cross on her shirt.
I thought she was just excited for Halloween.
Well, it was from that scene, and then I made her the devil. It's fucking insane. It's truly insane. And dare I say, unmedicated decisions. As someone who has been consistently on a high dose of Wellbutrin and Lexapro, I see clearly.
It's interesting though.
I woke up. I said, "Oh my fucking God, I need you." I woke up.
But you didn't get these tattoos at a good point in your life. And I don't want to be like an apologist for it. I also think that like genuinely you were grasping on to any medication that you could. And you had an opportunity to be embraced by people within the tattoo community to get good tattoos on you.
Yeah.
And I honestly think like those were just the lifelines that you grasped at. It could have been drugs. It could have been other self-harming behavior, but you got good tattoos that maybe you've grown out of.
Yeah.
Like if you kept those tattoos your whole life, no one's ever going to look at them and be like, oh girl, do you regret that? Because they're genuinely good.
Yeah. It's just fucking crazy that like, I was just like, hell yeah. Let's do that.
You were playing fast and loose and shooting from the hip. But I'll tell you, the tattoo that I wanted in my youth, which was decades ago, was I went to Layton High. And we were the Layton Lancers. And we would hold our fingers like this, like an LL. And I wanted that on my back. Layton Lancers, the LL on my back. That would have been like my first tattoo. I had a tattoo.
You wanted that tattoo out of high school, like in college. You said, I want that high school tattoo.
I was still in high school. Well, at the time when I was like 17, I'm like, as soon as I turn 18. But then like tattoos are expensive, you know, and I got more into piercings. Fucking thank God that I got into just piercings at a shitty tattoo studio. Do you remember my belly button piercing was like... Yeah,
Chelsea had like 3 belly button piercings.
Yeah, but they were pierced...
I'm not even... she literally had 3 at the same time.
Yeah, they were pierced a molecule away from like the top of my belly button. So you could like see the silver through the skin. They were pierced so shallowly. They were pierced in such a shallow way that like when I took them out, it gave me like a double belly button. Because like these, do you see that line on top? That's where the holes were. And it's maybe like 2 millimeters away. Like they were pierced so shallow. And I thought I got like 16 ear piercings done at Claire's. Mm-hmm. And now if I put earrings in, my ears go on fucking fire. And then I got my nipples pierced.
And then that almost ripped off.
Literally ripped 3/4 of the way through my boobie, and now one nipple is slightly bigger than the other because it has a scar on it. So that's where I spent most of it. I did almost get bullied into a friendship tattoo once. Well, I don't want to say bullied because we were best friends at the time. I just worked at a comic shop and I made like $30 a week.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do Harlequin and Poison Ivy friendship tattoos. And she got the Harlequin diamonds on her wrist, and it wasn't a bad tattoo. It was like it almost looked like a diamond card, you know?
Yeah, I remember.
But then when it came time for me to get my tattoo, okay, I got ripped off by the guy. It's so funny. Do you remember I Am Ghost?
Yeah, the band.
Band. So I was like, I'm not gonna say I was a groupie, but I was like close with them in a way where I had their numbers.
You were a groupie.
And we would hang out, and when they would come to town, we would all get one big hotel.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and that's like when I was like, oh yeah, I totally party with Escape the Fate. It wasn't because I was there for Escape the Fate. It was because they were on an Epitaph Records tour with I Am Ghost.
Oh,
they never did anything bad. I will say that 100% the I Am Ghost guys, respectful, treated us with respect. This is not that kind of story. But the lead singer was like, oh, I'm going to start doing art. And his art was really good. And so I was like, I'll totally pay you to design my Poison Ivy tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent him $100 for him to draw it. And then he just never did. And the band broke up.
Incredible.
But the other band members found out he like didn't ever make it for me, and it caused like this like big kind of like semi-viral blow up. And then a girl made a website that was like, give me back my Benjamin or whatever. It was so
for
crazy.
You
yeah, it was like it was crazy, right? So anyway, I was like, bygones be bygones. I had actually talked to him like a few years after that, and I was like, isn't
did he pay you back?
He never did.
Oh my God.
But I'm such a nice girl. I was like, you know what, dude? Honestly, like the woes of youth, you honestly, like if that's the only other thing, like you gave us so many cool experiences. I'm just going to wash my hands clean of it. I wish you well. Because he was getting like a ton of hate at the time. And I was like, I don't want any part of it. Like, bloop, 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 because I'm so cool. I'm such a nice girl. Probably would have been different if I was like older now. But anyway. So that's why I didn't get the tattoo. But what I had wanted was vines on my fucking hand is my first tattoo.
That's insane.
I wanted the vine to come up my wrist and go on the top of my hand and be like...
That would have been... She did on every single one of her fingers.
Yeah, I would have looked when I went with my hand out all spread, like I had vines coming out of like my knuckles, like Wolverine.
That is so like Spencer's in a mall, like fairy sticker on the back of your minivan core.
Like I think I was genuinely one of those people who got lucky with charisma, but never actually had my finger on the pulse of like what pop culture was. Yeah. So I would always try. Like when skater shoes were really popular, I like borrowed a pair of like my cousin's like Walmart brand shoes, and I thought I was a shit, you know? It was always like I was cosplaying in a world that I didn't belong in.
Yeah.
And I think that was like...
That saved you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Isn't that like kind of cringy, right?
Dude, the whole thing's fucking cringy. And like, that's what kills me. Before I continue on about how I cringe myself out, you talking about your crazy fucking belly buttons. That shit was so insane, by the way. But I had a memory come back to me from a girl that I went to high school with. We had all gotten our belly buttons pierced, and I had gotten it done professionally because I had good enough grades. It was the trade-off. My mom, she really thought she would pull one over on me. She said I could get like a facial piercing if I had good grades, and then a belly button piercing if I had good grades. And I said bet and did both. That's why I have fucking 7,000 holes around my fucking mouth. But anyway, I digress. This one friend, her mom wouldn't let her get a belly button ring, right? Sure. Okay. It's like 2007.
Yeah, and who cares?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, they were very much trending at that time, but it was fine. But apparently it was not fine for her because she had ambition and a bathroom. And she pierced it herself with just a regular schmegular earring. And this was back when everyone was rocking the like chandelier style belly button rings.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yep. And then your belly
So-
button would kind of like bleed a little bit, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
And like it would turn, you know how bad jewelry makes your skin
Like
turn
greenish,
green?
but like it would be in the hole.
Yeah.
Like you
so
would get like a tunnel of green rust.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so bad.
how we are alive, I'll never know. But her belly button started turning green. And I remember looking at it and being like, but that is actually a different green than I would anticipate. It's
Yeah.
almost starting to turn like brown black. And she thought I was being a certified hater, first of all.
Mm.
And I was like, maybe just hit it with some fucking salt water, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give it a rest. It's looking a little funky dunky. Needless to say, we're just hanging out by the pool one summer break. Okay.
Yeah.
That little bitch has turned black. It is turned black. And it
No.
falls off at the pool. It
like through her
falls-
skin.
It came off like a chunk, like zombie necrotic flesh with the piercing
Oh.
still attached.
That's
Looks like-
disgusting.
It looked like a piece of beef jerky.
It was like the ear that Mike Tyson bit off.
Yeah,
But
but
pierced.
imagine it was like decaying for a very long time before it
That's
was bit off.
fucking gross.
It literally looked like a piece of beef jerky with a piercing, with a chandelier belly button piercing.
Oh,
And her belly button looked like a crescent moon after that because it literally just took like a
My
chunk
God.
out. And to this day, I assume her belly button still looks like a crescent moon because I ran into her years later and she still had a crescent moon belly button from that shit. So
Oh yeah, you don't just come back from that.
yeah, it doesn't grow back, doesn't regenerate. So thinking about belly buttons. Anyway, back to me hating my body. It is, I look at myself and I can't take myself seriously.
Mhm.
Like, it's so fucking bad. First of all, the Harry Potter wands, here's the thing. I'm not mad at those because Harry Potter is what got me into reading, and it's what
Yeah.
followed me from elementary school into middle school, I think was like the last. And I went to the midnight book releases and I
Yeah.
went to the midnight movie premieres, and it meant a lot to me. And I would not regret it if J.K. Rowling didn't become a fucking black mold, brain rotted transphobe. And now, liking Harry Potter as a millennial is the equivalent of a Disney adult. And it's also attached to transphobia. And I'm like, I can't fucking handle it. I can't handle it at all. The way that some of my tattoos look on my body is the energy and aura of a Disney adult. And I cannot fucking handle it. It is driving crazy. It's driving me crazy.
Well, I mean, at least like most people have separated Harry Potter from our childhood and J.K. Rowling, where most of us are like,
Yeah.
we no longer support Harry Potter
Yeah.
endeavors because we don't want to give J.K. Rowling any money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just the apologist this episode. So I think that
Yeah.
that's okay. Also, I have a
Wow.
Harry Potter tattoo. Oliver has a Harry Potter tattoo. Literally everyone.
Yeah, and you guys are embarrassing.
Well, you know what? I'm a new Disney. Now that Disney owns Star Wars, I'm an even bigger Star Wars or like
I know, Disney
bitch.
adult.
So,
Oh
You-
my gosh. I
but
just
it's like-
all of them. I'll just rattle it off real quick. So Louise Belcher as Satan takes up my entire fucking back
Yeah,
arm. And
a
I
lot of real
really,
estate.
truly mean that, you guys. My whole fucking back arm. Then I have Voldemort's wand and Narcissia Malfoy's wand
That's
from
it. I
the
said that.
elbow to the wrist.
Mhm.
Okay. On
Yeah.
the left and right arm. That's fucking crazy. Then on my right arm, I have a Wu-Tang Doctor Who mashup tattoo. It's the
Yeah.
Wu-Tang W, and then it has the fucking TARDIS in the W, and it says Doctor Wu. Hello? That's fucking insane.
Yeah, but
That's-
it's a good tattoo though. It's a good tattoo at least.
The two tattoos that make me not sleep at night, Louise and the Doctor Wu, went hella viral on Reddit, which should say how cringe they are.
Yeah.
And then I have an unfinished trash polka style Wednesday
Yeah.
Addams portrait on from like half my left butt cheek down my thigh. Keep in mind, the face was never done, only half her chin and one braid. So it looks, but the trash polka thickness, the paintbrushes and splatters are fully deep, dark, rich, night is night
that
black.
that one's never getting covered
That,
up or removed.
oh,
But again, to be an apologist,
God.
that one looks intentional because those paint splatter tattoos are still popular where people just get like the brush strokes and stuff. So it looks
crazy,
intentional. And like every time I am present for you to tell somebody it is an unfinished Wednesday Addams tattoo, they go, no, it's not. And they look closely and they're like, I thought it was just an artistic paint splatter tattoo. And it's not until you pull it, like you pointed out. So again, you really are failing upwards. Like you're at least like failing into a passing grade with the tattoos you don't like because they look fine.
And
they look fine.
Behind my ear, I have a realistic diamond coming out of the skin. So it looks like a cut.
And then that's why your hair is always down.
Yeah. And then on the other side is California, which whatever, rep your fucking city, I guess.
Sure.
And then I have this derby girl coming out of a coffin, but the coffin was poorly drawn and poorly placed. So it looks like one half of a magician's box that's been cut in half.
A little bit.
It's literally so fucking insane. And then, of course, the pièce de résistance is my Steve-O moment, where my realistic Princess Mononoke looks like me.
I like that one, though.
That is fucking crazy. That is the mind of an unmedicated 20-something-year-old going through extreme mania who is grasping at cosplay as her only source of happiness and serotonin, who had access to fantastic artists and was able to get fantastically done tattoos at a friendship rate, who now looks at her body at the ripe age of 31, almost 32, and goes, oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. It is so cringy and embarrassing.
No. Let me tell you why I love the Princess Mononoke tattoo. And it's not going to have it is well done and it's cute. It is like a cute tattoo. Like it's not
very
bad.
cute. Yeah, it's very well done.
There was a point where you and I were in our hoe phase, or we were just like in our cringy bar phase where we weren't caring about. We really were hating ourselves then.
Yeah.
And someone was trying to be so bitchy to you. And they were like, how's it feel to have your own fucking face tattooed on your arm? And you went, feels pretty goddamn good. And then you drank your drink. And it's like such a flashbulb memory to me that every time where I'm like going to do something where I'm like, should I be embarrassed? Should I be self-conscious? And I think like your voice comes out like a fucking halo or like an angel's voice out of the blue. And it's like, well, it feels pretty goddamn good. And I'm like, fuck it. And I do it. So that's why I like that one, because it was definitely in a point in my life where everything was dark. And for you to have like one thing to pull out of that darkness, and like for a hater to be at a bar where like we don't even know her. And it's like, yeah. And it reminds me, honestly, no, it doesn't remind me of that.
You could say it. Just say it.
So I was watching Dr. Phil and the teen mom girl, Farrah, made her sex tape. And she was like, I just want to remember how good I look. And I was like, well, when Noelle gets like crazy old, she just can't remember how goddamn good she looks.
It's true. It's true. It was, I also just want to say, the confidence of someone who is going through it could honestly like solve world hunger, because I was like, no, we have to do that because that is me. I remember getting that tattoo and being like, no, I am Princess Mononoke. I was raised by wolves and defend the forest from pollution and mankind. And I was like, that's fucking real, bitch. I remember just like, that was all I had. I was like, that's it. That's why I'm doing this. So it's hilarious though. It's a beautiful tattoo and I love it. And Princess Mononoke is still, it's like timeless. It doesn't get cringy for me like all the other shit, but oh, it's just so wild. And it's so, man, they say your brain stops developing at 25. This shit really did not click for me until I hit 30. I swear to fucking God. Because at 25, I was still rocking the like, no, fuck you. I love this shit. I fucking look so good with these. You're all just a bunch of fucking haters. And then now I'm like, Jesus Christ. How am I a business professional with fucking Louise Belcher taking up 90% of my fucking arm? That's crazy.
I can see the more of the opinions towards Louise, but I've never watched Bob's Burgers. But the Princess Mononoke, I only watched it once, and I think you made me watch it, and I was like, I don't know if I like anime.
Whoa, that's insane. That's an insane thing to say.
But you still, like, I don't associate Princess Mononoke with, like, anime. I just associate it with Noelle, because you still do shit like that. You'll still go, like, when we go to the beach, you'll just pick up everyone else's trash. And not just, like, the party's trash. You'll see garbage on the beach, and you will leave with more shit than what we carried in, because you just clean up. So that is, like, a Princess Mononoke thing. So I do not find that tattoo cringy. I don't find any of them cringy.
They're pretty cringy. It's okay. I mean, that's the least cringy one, which is an insane statement. They just don't fit your interests anymore. Like, I just don't equate you. I never equated you with like a Bob's Burgers girly. So the Louise one, I'm like, okay. And then like for Voldemort and then Malfoy's mom, I'm like a dark-sided bitch. Team Gryffindor. So, you know, it's always just like, I'm like, I wouldn't have gotten that done. I would have gotten the Deathly Hallows. And I got Expecto Patronum on my wrist just because I'm like, I'm always going to identify with like the Jedi of everything. But no, I think they're good tattoos. I mean, I've seen some busted. Yeah, I've seen worse, but still, it's just like, oh my God. It's insane.
I'm sure it's hard to reconcile because when you come up with like new ideas and new visions for what you want, you're like, well, shit. Yeah. I can't do anything because Dr. Wu is on my fucking arm for the rest of my life.
I think that I'm going to really start trying to hoard pennies like a little squirrel so I can get like blackout floral on my entire left arm and just call it a day. Because it makes me feel a little insane if I'm being 100% honest. And that's totally fine. I don't know. I love some of the bad tattoos I have because I think they're just hilarious little snapshots. I still stand by that in a way. But some of these decisions were fucking insane. And they are clearly decisions made by an insane person. But anyway, that's what I've been struggling with a lot lately. Is just, you know, feeling very weird in my skin.
I definitely feel that. Like, I have felt like I am Mercury retrograde, and I can't quite put my finger on it. You and I actually had like a little bit of a meltdown like a week ago, and I'm not going to go into details, but you're like, this happened. I'm like, girl, guess what? We're both like making everything worse. But I think that's like,
I needed you to co-sign on that.
Yeah, it was, I have an issue where I get very comparative and sometimes I will trigger myself into destructive habits and not to get like back into like the tattoos and everything, but what really fucking pulled me out of it was finishing the Dune book and then reading Star Wars. And the Star Wars book I read, was stupid, but at the end of the day, like once I was done with it though, I was like, ooh, and it really like helped pull me out of it.
Who in the history of humanity has ever said that Dune has pulled them out of a psychosis? Because I think it puts you in a psychosis.
Well, okay, so like what had happened was I really like the cutesy little like romance animes that are like webtoons.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like I'll read them and I get like this notion in my head that I will forever live a mediocre life that means nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not anything bad. It's just like she did magic and she killed the troll that was threatening the kingdom. And then I'm like, what have you ever done? That. And I'm like, so it's like dumb things like that. But with Dune, like the main person in there is the villain. Like Paul's not the good guy. So you're not really like really rooting for anybody except for maybe the sandworms. And then I read 2 Star Wars books. One of them was like the Darth Plagueis book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just
which you liked, right?
Yeah, that one I liked. And that's just how they fucked up the Jedi. So that was kind of like not anything to really compare to. It was just like, Jesus Christ, the Sith really are like diabolical. And then the other one I read was, okay, I'm going to tell it to you on paper and I want you to tell me if it sounds good or bad.
Okay.
It is the middle of the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Count Dooku leads the Separatists.
Mm-hmm.
He is just wiping out people left and right because if it's either you're with him or against him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting to the point where the Jedi are exasperated because he doesn't fight in an even fair place. So it's not like they can just go to him and fight him in a duel. He's out
sending people in the night.
Yeah, he has like Grievous, you know what I mean? And or he's like killing people while they sleep. Anyway.
Yeah.
So they decide to send a Jedi in an undercover mission to assassinate him. So Dooku used to have an acolyte named Asajj Ventress, and she was a Night Sister. He abandoned her. So like convert her, who hates him the most, to help you kill him, but don't let her know you're a Jedi. And so he's like, okay, cool. So on paper, the Jedi are like, go undercover, find his old acolyte, team up with her, and both of you fucking kill him. And you're like, oh.
Sounds fun.
Sounds a little cool, right? Where it got into issues for me, and apparently it was supposed to be a Clone Wars story, and then they just scrapped it. And now I understood why they scrapped it. Because then you start to get into the issue of like, the Jedi are the bad guys because first of all, the Jedi don't do stuff like that. They don't go assassinate. They don't go kill. But what essentially happens is Quinlan Vos is who they send. Him and Asajj kind of like hook up, did not want to read a love story. And the love story didn't quite make sense. It was mostly like they suddenly become infatuated with each other. And I was like, infatuation is like my least favorite type of trope.
Yeah.
She figures out he's a Jedi, whatever. They go to kill Dooku. Dooku's like, hey, did you know she killed your master? Instantly, Quinlan Vos switches to become a Sith. His eyes change and everything. And then Asajj leaves, and the Jedi Council is like, well, now we got to go kill him. And it's almost like if you give a moose a muffin, or they're just creating bigger problems as the book goes through. So they're like, okay, someone go kill him. So they send Obi-Wan Kenobi to go kill him. Obi-Wan's like, I'm not fucking killing him. And you're like, oh, I forgot Obi-Wan's an actual good Jedi. And then they go to get him. He sees Asajj. He's like, no, I love you. So they bring him back. And he's like, it was her love that saved me. And she's like, I don't think you're fucking lying.
Yeah.
So she leaves. Turns out he was lying. He betrays the Jedi, goes back to Dooku. Turns out he was a triple agent.
Triple agent?
It's like
sounds like they
agent.
jumped the fucking shark, dude.
Right? Yeah. So he was like, "Well, I really was doing all this bad shit and killing people, but it's because I was trying to find out who Dooku's master was. Because at this point, nobody knows who Sidious is, and nobody knows that it's Palpatine. So like, I was just trying to go triple agent to figure out who it was." Dooku's like, "Fuck you!" Then goes to kill him with Force lightning. Asajj pushes him out of the way. She takes the Force lightning. She dies. He's like, "No!" They take him back. And they're like, all right, we're going to kill him for real. And then Obi-Wan's like, you guys are killing him for something that you fucking did. Like, what is this? They're like, you're right. And then that's it.
It sounds like bad fan fiction.
It literally read like bad fan fiction because even like the romance parts, and I do not like romance in my Star Wars because it was just basically like, Asajj is like, I'm going to go seduce this man. And he's like, show me. And she's like, eh. And then he's like, sprung. I'm in love.
Oh.
And it's so weird, right? Because they don't go into any, they're like, oh, Jedi shouldn't have any connections to people. But then it doesn't explain friendships because he has a best friend. It doesn't explain that he misses his master. And I think that it was just written by somebody who takes, I bet the person who wrote it reads the Bible literally, because they were like, the sun literally stopped and the earth is only 1,000 years old. And it's like, no, you have to interpret. Like whenever somebody says like, oh, only a Sith deals in absolutes, and people are like, well, that's an absolute. Or like Jedis can't have emotion ever. It's like, well, they're allowed to care about people. They're allowed to have empathy. It's just that you live a life in service of the Force. So you can't put things ahead of that would cause you to go against the will of the Force. And that was like basically it. Anyway, it just wasn't good. And I was so bummed because Audible credits are so fucking expensive. And I spent one on it.
Yeah.
And the killer was like, oh, just get a refund. Just say that the audio wasn't good. And I can't do that, Noelle. You know how I am. I'll just die on this hill of hating it.
You can also get a refund because you don't like something or it didn't work out.
I know, I should, because
that's still honorable and honest.
Oh.
And then you're just getting the credit back to just use it somewhere else. So
nobody read Dark Apprentice.
Okay. Even the title sounds like bad fan fiction on Reddit.
I know. And like the premise of it sounded so good of that, like the Jedi got fucking desperate and this is how they fucked up. And I was like, oh. Yeah. And then it was just like a shitty love story. I'm like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
And it also wasn't written like, it just wasn't written very well.
You know, anyone can be an author.
At parts.
You could self-publish on Amazon, but no, I'm glad Dune saved you then. But
yeah, Dune really got me out of it.
Yeah, I needed your cosign though, because I was very much in my feelings as well. And I still kind of am. And that's okay. I definitely understand where you're coming from with the, like, you know, zoning out on my hand. Like, why are we here? What is my purpose? Am I destined for mediocrity? Probably. I also think if I want to try to deconstruct those feelings, I think that we are Amera-brained.
Yeah.
Being an Amera-brained person, you have been fed this storyline that you are supposed to be spectacular and independent and successful, and you're supposed to be a Lewis and Clark or a George Washington of your own story. And the unfortunate truth is that that's not real. A majority of people will live mundane, mediocre lives in comparison to that, right?
Yeah.
Some people don't even leave their town, let alone their state, let alone their country. And that's totally fine, right? But it's interesting because I can sit here and say, like, that's totally fine and that's okay. And then also look at my own circumstance and be like, I'm failing.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to do something spectacular and meaningful. And I'm supposed to feel all of these things and do all of these things. And I'm doing none of it. And I'm like capped. And I'm, even if I wanted to, I couldn't because of circumstance. So it's always like chasing that unobtainable dream. You know, you're on the fucking wheel, just running and hoping.
It's this really toxic idea of legacy. So like, I can get why people have children, because at one point in my brain, I was like, a baby would fix this. Thank God. Fucking
That's how you know you're down bad, dude.
I know. Like, that was the thing though. And I was like, what have I ever done? And it's like, what will I leave behind? And I'm like, bitch, this is a Highlander. Like, you're not like a fife. Like, just die and go back into the energy force and just be nice to people at least.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. On a sane day. But then on another day, I'm like, maybe I could be an Olympian.
Yeah. On another day, I feel fucking crazy. But I don't know. And I sometimes have to like fight the feelings of wanting to just run because it gets so overwhelming, that feeling of insignificance and that feeling like I'm doing everything wrong. And I it wakes me up in the night like a cold sweat. And it's just like, take off. Just run.
Like, you know what would fix this? A beach in South America.
Yeah, a new name.
Yeah.
A new identity.
I should have faked my death in 9/11. Yeah.
No, seriously, like it's so bad. And I know that it's just like this overwhelming pressure, right? Building that bursts in tiny little moments like that. And it's so strange because obviously like I am very fortunate and I have a great family and a great relationship with my parents and great friendships and a good relationship and a good job. And I can like pay my bills and put food in my mouth and maybe not as much as other people, but I'm doing okay in comparison. I'm doing better than I thought I would have. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The joke to myself was that I would never make it to 30 and that I would never be able to live on my own and I would never get out of debt, da 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 da. And I've done all of those things besides the debt part because student loans are killing me.
Doesn't count.
But yeah, I mean, it's down. It's like, I think I'm at 15,000 now. But so anyway.
Yeah, you'll only $26,000 more to go.
Yeah, only for the rest of my life still.
Yeah.
I owe 15,000 a day. It'll be 30,000 next year. Anyway, like I'm doing all of these things. I'm passing the bars that I've set for myself, but I still feel like it's insignificant or like I'm doing something wrong or that this isn't enough. My parents, thankfully, did not raise me on the Disney princess ideology that my purpose is to get married and have kids and be a good wife. My parents never raised me on that some man is going to come and sweep me off my feet and fix all of my problems and put me in a house. And I'm very appreciative of that. But instead I have like this version of reality where it's just like me looking at myself and I am the only one reliable and accountable. And it's difficult sometimes, I think, especially in this world that's not meant for that. Because I really do think that if I was to be like the type of person who just wants to like immediately get married and move in and have kids and like do that and that like probably other things would get easier and other things would obviously get harder. But I feel like we've talked about this as well, that there are a lot of things in the United States that are just not built for individuals.
Yeah, and peace and love, like you can say that your parents did not raise you on this like princess mentality, but I think you and I kind of got that because we were raised by two parents who loved us, who were financially stable, and from the outside looking in, happy. I don't know what their feelings were. They protected me from adult things, so I just assumed it was rainbows and sunshine all the time.
Yeah.
So my mind was, if you graduate, get good grades, go to school, life works out for you, and you will be so financially blessed. Your friends will come over every week to play cards. Everyone will have kids and be happy. We can buy a boat. We can travel. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, that's crazy because like, even if I had all those things on paper, like my parents never addressed the call of the void to me, where I didn't realize like that, like how you say wanting to die all the time is normal because like it just, and now, it's like, my parents raised me. Maybe like my parents were the same thing. My dad was like, you got to go to school so you don't rely on a man. And I'm like, okay, Dad, who's also a man who paid for my school and still is somebody that I rely on daily. I know that if I even your mom, you could be like, Mom, come over. Your mom would drop everything and come running, which is like, it's like, no, man, no wonder. Like, they set such a high fucking standard just by being there.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder sometimes if I'm not there enough with like things going on
Yeah.
in life. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, dude, they did this by the time they were my age,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to budget for Starbucks still.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. And yeah, like 1,000% retweet. And obviously we are of sane mind and can objectively go like, oh, the economy and inflation and blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, 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 and, an oversaturation of people graduating college with degrees and
Yeah.
20,000 people applying for the same job, blah, 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 right? You can't just buy a house off of one income working as a store clerk anymore, which
Right.
our parents were able to do for the most part. But that doesn't make it any easier. I don't know. I feel like I'm looking at like my life from this
Yeah.
like a higher up position. I'm looking at it. I'm looking down at it. I'm going like, is this okay? Like, is this right? Is this why am I, you know what I mean? It's weird.
You want to know what else triggered it? And we're probably going to get into spoilers, but the Deadpool Wolverine, where they started showing the credits
Mm-hmm.
and it was going into like old footage and everything of what everyone had
Mm-hmm.
done. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt so small because I was like, this is such a legacy. Again, going into that idea of legacy, but I was like, if I played something similar back,
What would it be?
would it just literally be me and Noel almost dying with
Yeah.
Tyler drunk driving us that one time? Or it's like, what is it? And it's like I
Also,
don't wanna, like,
not Tyler, my partner, a different Tyler.
a different man. Completely probably the first time we've ever mentioned him by name. There's so many Tylers in your life. It's ridiculous.
I know it's scary.
But like I was just looking back at it and then it was
Mm-hmm.
like the finality of time where I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, like this has been my interest of comic books all this time. And
Mm-hmm.
look at time passing. You're getting old.
Yeah.
And then like thinking about the first time I saw X-Men was with my sister Jessica and her boyfriend Steven when she was 17. And I'm like, oh, plus that person isn't even here anymore. And it
Yeah.
was so sad, but it's such a good movie. But it was like, God,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
No, I feel you on that.
I can't put my finger on it, but I was so bothered.
Yeah. Because you don't have the comfort of nostalgia anymore, right? I think like a lot
Yeah.
of people like they get tucked in with nostalgia and they can look back and cherry pick memories and be like, it was better back then. Even when we say, you didn't realize what you had until it was gone, speaking of our younger bodies
Yeah.
and our younger selves, if you will. I don't think we have the comfort of nostalgia because we've never had a moment of comfort. Like
Yeah.
we specifically in our age group, it was like what fucking 9/11 and then the housing market crash and recession. And then we went into the war that never ended, I guess. We just kind of gave up. And then we went into student loans being insane. And then we came out
Yeah.
hoping we'd get a job and we didn't. And then we had this scary right wing politics and repealing of rights popping up where you genuinely woke up and felt like, I'm not going to have the same rights as I did yesterday, which was true, obviously, with the repealing of Roe v. Wade. And it's like we've never had a moment where we could just like stop and smell the flowers. We've never had a moment where we could look back through the lens of nostalgia and be like, oh, it was good back then. It never was. It's always been chaos. It's always been like insanity. It's always been living through historical events, right? That's the joke, is that we live through historical events constantly, this generation specifically. So they're like in the hope that things are going to get better, that carrot dangling in front of your face feels like it's non-existent. So I think you're just like stuck in reality, which is sad and scary and mundane and like that's it, and you just have to like chew on that. I understand why people turn to religion. I understand why trad wives are fucking coming up big again. I get it. Like it's fucking scary and like that if that's a thing that gives you purpose every day, I understand why you do that. But yeah, I also think I had this moment and I was speaking to my partner about it. I was like, I feel really weird because I used to do so many things and now I essentially do like one thing. And even with this year's Comic-Con, and none of the panels that I wanted got accepted. So this is going to be the first year where I'm not even doing panels at FanX. And it's another thing that used to be like my little thing that I do gone. And like obviously my love for these topics will always remain and these hobbies will always remain, but that thing that made it have purpose is gone.
That I felt similar, and I think about it all the time. So I'm like, what will my life be if I don't have X, Y, Z? And there are things like FanX. I recently felt it. I finished up all the covers that Validity Studios had asked me to do for their comic, and I'm like, what? Now I don't have anything to do. Or like roller derby. I'm like, I'm gonna ride that into the grave because that's the only thing I got now. But it's like, even with FanX, I submitted so many panels and I put people on them, and then two got through, and two were waitlisted. And then the ones that got through have the same people on them. So I was wondering, like, maybe that's just the most cost-effective way that they can just have duplicate panelists on both. And then I'm moderating those. So all the
you
ones
don't even
that I was
get to participate.
No, I got asked to moderate a Funko Pop one for Nerds. Well, hold up, for Nerd Store. Nerd Store, who are friends of the podcast. They want to do a Funko Pop one.
I love them. But
I was like, are you asking me to moderate or participate? And they were like, moderate. And I'm like, I got you. So I have questions for them. And then, but it's like, it just feels different because the panels are going to be a Jack Kirby Spotlight panel and then 50 years of Wolverine comics. And it's like, we could have talked about, like, my Star Wars stuff didn't get through. Like, nothing for, like, Deadpool Wolverine. And we had a Catwoman panel that was, like, the femme fatale, like, because it's her anniversary, Daredevil. It's his anniversary, too. And I'm like, these are really big comic book characters, and they're not getting a spotlight at all. It's very surprising. I did get put on like a Supernatural panel, but I'm mourning what FanX used to be, which was just a cacophony of research and chaos, and now it's like
I mean, there's essentially no horror on the panel lineup. There's two,
a lot of
and it's
anime.
It's nothing.
Speaking of, did you see Anime Bonsai's dead?
Yes, I did.
The way I went on I have never been to Anime Bonsai. I am not an anime girl, but the way that I made that my problem when I found out, apparently, somebody recorded the board meeting, which was like 2 hours and 58 minutes. And believe me, I watched all of it. And it was just everybody screaming at each other. And then they would go into other things of like, do you have your volunteer list? Oh, yeah, let me resend it to you just in case you don't have it. They go, and then by the end of it, they're like, crazy. Let's fucking call it. But it just was like, I don't know all of the ins and outs, but apparently somebody named Artemis was a cosplayer who people don't like for one reason or another. Abuse allegations on the board. They said verbal abuse allegations. They invited Artemis to be a local cosplay judge, but Anime Bonsai said we can't have any local cosplay judges because they play favorites. So they kicked Artemis out.
It's always going to be a cosplay contest that brings the bitch down.
Artemis was like, I already made it a whole point to come to this. That's kind of crappy. And then they were like, this, you said that it's supposed to say that you won't discriminate. But then in this thing, you're literally discriminating me based on like geographical location. And it says in there that you can't do that to people. And they're like, you're back in. But then one of the ladies on the board was like, I've been abused verbally by Artemis, allegedly. And then they're like, kick him the fuck out again. And then it was like, zip, zap, zip, zap. It was like a vasectomy, man. And they were like snip, snapping this cosplayer all over the place. And then eventually they were like, fuck you, convention's over.
Incredible.
Isn't that crazy? An entire convention brought down by this sort of
cosplay contest. You know, it always will be. Don't you remember last year when the cosplay contest drama was going viral about the people, the we online, if you will, felt that the people who won should not have won. And then all the people in the competition made like 17 videos about how their costume should have won. If there's going to be one thing to bring down a convention, it's going to be the cosplay contest. It's not going to be the convention going cheap or the owners being fucking freaks or them cutting activities and events. It's always going to be the drama of a cosplay contest. That's going to take it down. It always will.
Wild, because like cosplay does take so much fucking effort, but you know what? The effort is the shit that goes into the pie. It is not what the presentation.
People don't care that you spent fucking 55 hours making that costume. Like,
do you remember when that girl that she's local and her husband, they're both good people. She spent like weeks making a Jamie Lannister hand. She did win, but I just remember being like, weeks of her sculpting this beautiful piece of art. And then she won, rightfully so. But then there were other people like comparing with the shit they bought off Amazon. And it was like, girl, I can get a printout of the Mona Lisa too. Like I can just hit Command P after Googling it. But like, so I think that's a problem with like cosplay contests too, because there's people who will put effort into the craft, but there's also people who drop a buck ton of money on the craft. And you have to reconcile that. And it doesn't, the math not be mathin'.
The math doesn't math. And the judges that they get they're just like, what's pretty, what looks good. They don't care.
I judged a costume contest.
Yes, many a times, which is crazy.
The judging was not consistent because I think someone came up, like there were some like really beautiful costumes, but I think it was so arbitrary because I was like, I don't really like it. But then there was another one. I'm like, that guy kept eye contact with me. So zoop.
Yeah, and it's 10s across the board.
You need a qualified judge for that shit. If it was like, maybe if they gave me like a rubric on what to judge on other than first impressions, because I was really hoping that Pumpkin Guy would come back again. And I'm like, we got to give it to him this year. You know, like Pumpkin King. I was like, we got to give it to him.
Oh my God.
Or like
living legend.
Yeah. So there's like things like that. I'm like, you have to have like a rubric and you do have to be qualified.
Or
like
Spider
there's a
Jedi.
reason why. Yeah. It's like
Spider Jedi.
I was like, there's a reason why, like, I can't judge the Olympics, man.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah. Oh my God. Spider Jedi. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
Oh
Spider
my
Jedi was
God.
sick. That stuff where I'm like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Busting out of that
creativity.
children's fucking costume, dude.
I know.
Yeah,
like that
ruled.
stuff. And
That
there
shit
needs to be
ruled.
like, if it was like a fan favorite, let me at it. But then when we did your cosplay or your swamp thing, like you were in like a couture gown, you had prosthetics, you and I practiced for weeks on that makeup. I suddenly learned how to do costume makeup. We did trial runs and fixed it. You had a full performance on stage. I don't remember who won, but I just remember being like,
I was second place.
Spent so much time and effort of like learning how to do the prosthesis, like learning how to make them lay flat, learning how to have them on your face and sealed down fast enough where we could do your full makeup in the time that they gave us, because they didn't give us a lot of time. The fact that your gown was handmade couture. And I was like, God damn, like I don't remember who won, but I remember feeling personally cheated at the time because I was like, we had so many people there helping you. It took like 3 or 4 people to get that you up and at it. And I just, I don't know. So I get it. I read on both sides.
Yeah.
Judge and the cheated contestant.
Yeah.
But I can't believe it took out on the whole convention.
I mean, if there's going to be something, it's going to be that. But
if it ever happens to FurCon, I'll kill myself.
It could never. That's one of the few pure communities.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I don't know. All this to say, it's very weird. I feel like I used to be so ambitious and have so many things that were like my personality. And now I'm just like this. And that's fucking terrifying. Because what's this, dude? What's this?
Yeah. It's, But it's like, is that my fault for putting myself, like, or is that our fault? Because we're not really trying anything new.
I mean, we're not trying anything new, but also, like, how could we?
We should try LARPing. There's a local LARPing community.
Yeah, you want to do that? I'll do that.
I do actually want to do it.
Okay.
I do want to do it because I did it in high school and I missed it.
I see them at Liberty Park, honestly.
Yeah, there's apparently one in Layton. Like,
yeah, I've got to do something.
Yeah.
Also, maybe that's something more to unpack. I feel like my identity is wrapped in these things, right? Like, it was roller derby and cosplay and dance and photo shoots and makeup and panels.
Well, even this podcast that we haven't been doing a very good job at lately.
I know. It's well, I know that's because we're feeling super burnt out and uninspired, but I think it all connects. It all connects.
I think it connects too. Like, when I feel good shit happens, but when I feel nothing, it's so hard to like produce anything of quality. And that includes conversation. Yeah. That includes interest, effort.
Yeah.
Energy, like even things that are absolutely free. For me to sit at this computer and read something that I wrote to you sounds so daunting.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks, I'm like,
yeah. No, it's, you know, what's I feel in this moment, what's worse than feeling sad is feeling nothing, is feeling this like limbo, almost apathetic. I feel like very apathetic, and I wish that I just felt sad, because at least that's something. It's just, I don't know, man. It's really fucking weird. I feel like I used to be a jack of all trades, and now I'm just me. And it's like, fuck. If talking about legacy, what is it? I used to do these things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I used to be, I used to be. And now, what am I?
Yeah, now I'm this. It's very fucking weird. I have enough self-awareness to be like, don't put yourself in the mindset of the kid who peaked in high school and hangs out at the local Applebee's and talks about, you know, how he won the big game. But fuck.
I know. Like,
yeah,
dude, even when we go to like paddleboard now, we just stand there in the water and drink beer, like, and chips and salsa. We like don't even paddle. We just use the paddleboard as a table, and then we go home. It's fun. Yeah. But like even the effort of just kind of going out in the lake a little bit, I'm like, wow.
Well, no, I even think about that like 3 years ago when we used to go every fucking weekend and we would go to different spots, and I'm just like, now I couldn't.
I'm like, I'll go set up an umbrella and sit under it, but that's all you're gonna get from me.
Yeah, it's fucking.
And it has nothing to do with like physicality, because even though I'm like lazy, I am capable. Yeah, but like I used to take my dogs everywhere with me, and now I'm like,
yeah, it's insane to think
like,
about.
Let's just stay home.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal, man. I don't know. So if you're wondering why we're doing a free form episode today, it's because of that. Because the crush, I'm drowning in nothingness, essentially. The nothingness is so fucking big and intense. It's crushing me. And it's making me feel very uninspired, and it's making me feel very weird. And I feel really sorry for myself sometimes. Like when I was texting you, I felt really sorry for myself. And I was reminiscing on times when I was like a stronger version of me. And I'm like, fuck, where is she?
I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
The stuff that people used to do to me. Yeah. And I would be completely unbothered and unfazed by it. Yeah. To the point where I put up with just absolute demons. Yes. And now I've kind of come out of it into a level where I am happy. But the fact that sometimes I won't let myself be happy for whatever reason. I'm too hot. I'm too cold. I'm bored. I'm too busy. I'm like, what's your problem? Yeah. baby back bitch.
Yeah, I feel
That's all I
that.
am. How did I
Yeah.
grow into being such a bitch?
I don't know,
Not
man.
like a
I'm trying to figure it
bitch.
out.
Not a bitch, but like a pab. How did I become a pab?
But yeah, just a little whiny baby dummy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fucked though. I fucking hate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's so weird. I don't know. It's, I don't know. I guess if we figured it out, then no one would have any problems, right? Because I know we're not the only ones who feel this way.
I
So,
know. It's like it's a shared existence, but like, why have
Mhm.
we not collectively learned how to fix it yet?
yeah, I don't think we know how. I think because the fix is so simple, it's like hard to just
I know.
accept it. Like the fix is just like, you know, try your best and be nice to people and don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And like, that's it. Like, that's the meaning of life is to just make it even a fraction a bit better than it was before you were in it. And that could just be by being kind to people.
Mhm.
And like, that's it. And like, that's okay that that's it. But we've been programmed to have these extravagant ideals. So everything feels like it's missing.
Mhm.
It's really fucking weird.
Dude, and it all started by reading just like a fucking manga on the internet.
Yeah. Yep. And I really think that it's like the dog chasing the car. Because once you get it, like, what are you going to do?
Dude,
You know?
yeah. My car's paid off. I've had it. I've caught it years ago.
Mhm.
Now it's like, what do I want to do? Shop? Sometimes
Yeah.
I just want to spend money, and that's
Yeah.
not healthy either.
Yeah. Can't do that either. So
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
Need a hobby. I need
Yeah.
something fulfilling. I need community, which is also crazy to hear because like you have that,
hmm
I have that.
hmm
Why do I want more of it?
hmm
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just not enough.
It is not enough.
We need
I
to microdose some. We need to just microdose shrooms.
I know. I'm gonna go get mushrooms or something. But I agree with you. I think that a lot of it has to do with the lack of community, and not just like with us, but like with our culture and this country. You know, we just the priorities are not aligned in a way that I think our brains need them to be. So it's very interesting. I don't know. Crazy. If you're feeling crazy, let us know.
Yeah.
Chelsea Noel, go to hell podcast at gmail.com. I think that's the email. Go ahead. Let us know. DM us. DM us on Instagram. I don't check the Twitter anymore. I'm so sorry. Twitter sucks now. Since Twitter became X, it's a cesspool. It's so fucked. I fucking hate it. Don't message us on Facebook either because I hate that even more. So just hit us up on Instagram or send me a handwritten letter.
Oh, I
in the
love
mail.
handwritten letters.
I would love that. So,
oh my God, we did a pen pal thing at work, and I haven't even heard from my pen pal. Oh, she didn't even write to me.
You had a pen pal?
Yeah, I signed up for it.
Oh.
I worked at a pen pal sign up, and I signed up for it, and I wrote a big note, and then I took photos of my dogs on Polaroid, and I sent them in there, and I was like, "Here's my dogs, here's my life," and I just thought about it. I didn't even get the letter back. I reached out one time.
Fucking incredible.
Like that time I got all those buttholes for Christmas, man. I can't have anything.
Yeah, I know that, dude. I know that. So, well, now that I feel kind of the same, I think we can get the fuck out of here. Well, we're gonna come back next week with actual topics, but I'm glad that we got some of this hot air out of our fucking heads because it's been keeping me up at night.
Yeah. What if we just tried like leeches? Maybe we have too much blood.
Yeah, I think they were onto something back in the fucking 1800s. I need to put a leech on my forehead.
Yeah, I'm gonna put one on my throat. Maybe I have something wrong with my chakra. Let's go to our chakras.
Oh yeah, we just put leeches on all of our chakras. You know, I understand why people do like ayahuasca retreats. Because I'm like, I need a factory reset, dude. I think I need a factory reset. I don't know. The antidepressants have made me too aware. I need to go back to being crazy. I need to go back to the brain who got Louise Belcher as her entire fucking arm.
I know. Sometimes I'm like,
she had it.
Like that. Where's the Chelsea who branded her ass and then went viral on the internet?
Yeah,
I would
where
never.
is she?
She's dead.
Yep.
Taylor Swift killed her. when
Yeah,
she
it's
killed her. Yeah, she can't come to the phone right now.
nice Taylor Swift reference there.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't mean to. People keep hating on Taylor Swift, and now I've made it a point to defend her because I try to defend what girls like, and it's just been
Yeah.
really hard for me because I don't
It's
really.
it's really hard because like she's super fucking cringe and
I know.
it's like really tough. No, I agree. It's really hard. I tried to do the same thing. I tried to be like,
Yeah.
it's not cool to hate on Taylor Swift. And then I listen to any of her songs and then I see her continuing to like block the Billboard charts for people like Billy
Yeah.
and Charlie XCX and Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter from getting like number ones. She'll just release a 17th version of a song that came out 7 years ago. And
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, well, I'm so sorry, you're making it very hard. So,
Yeah.
but
It's.
that's fine.
But then she like helps pay Kesha's legal fees, and I'm like, God damn it, T Swift.
Yeah,
Or
but
she
then she
let.
like takes her private jet for a 5 minute drive.
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess she buys like credits, like carbon credits. I don't know. Someone
that
said that
doesn't
to me.
that is
I don't
that
even
does
know what
not
it is.
matter. That is
I don't know
fake.
either.
That is
She
fake.
gets
The carbon
she gets
credits
pollution vouchers, and then she redeems them at Candyland and gets
Yeah.
6 gumdrops.
The fucking ozone doesn't give a shit about her carbon credits that she paid $1 million for. I'll tell you that. So anyway, you know what I will tell you though is that there is a link tree in all of our bios. We are at Go to Hell Podcast. I am at Noelle Fain. That is at Sithlard. And if you go into that link tree, you'll find a link to our Patreon. $1 gets you in. We're going to be posting Chelsea's episode with the Nerd Dome, where she is defending Acolyte.
Yep.
So listen to that.
It's really long, so
It's 2 hours. So
yeah.
you're welcome, everyone who likes long episodes. You'll also find a link to our merch. 100% of proceeds are donated. We also have a link to our Discord server, and we have a link to Kelly Holloran or at Wild Wood Owl on Etsy. She makes cool shit for us. She makes cool shit in general, so go check her out. And we have a bunch of resources up there as well, still, like donating to the people in Gaza. So, oh my God, I'll never remember it. We also have our YouTube on there. Our YouTube,
I don't
like,
remember it
comment,
ever either.
subscribe. I forget that it exists.
That's my bad.
Bully us on YouTube. Give me, I need spice in my life, obviously. So like, bully us on YouTube. Call me ugly. I just really think I need it.
I just need to feel again, you know?
I need to feel something. I'm literally like, I'm Bella on the motorcycle, purposely crashing.
You need Edward to whisper to you.
Yeah, I need to like, Robert Pattinson needs to like appear as Mufasa in the sky to me as I crash my dirt bike being crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Washington and I'm going to jump off that cliff. I think that'll fix me. So
I'm just going to buy a dirt bike and stay local. You know what? This is the problem. I got to get used to leaving my house.
Yeah. I'm going to go to Forks, Washington and jump off that cliff. So anyway, that's that. That's us. I'm going to revoke the hail of antidepressants because I really think they've just made me too aware and I want to be stupid and dumb again. It was so nice.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could just freebase the chemicals I need.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, if I don't touch the doorknob enough times, I think that like a meteor will kill me. So, like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. You need to take your medicines, Miss OCD.
You should. Well, you have to take your medicines too, man.
Yeah, or I could just like be depressed. It's like fine. But what am I now? Crazy. So what did it even matter? I'm still not happy. Oh fucking God! Let's get the fuck out of here.
All right. Bye.
Bye.